What's going on, everyone? This is Luke from South Beach Sports and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am going to break down which teams that you as Dolphins fans should root for in preparation for week 15. I first want to give a quick shout out to the New York Times. They have a very easy and very user-friendly website that just allows you to predict every NFL game for the remainder of the season, and it made this video really easy. So I'm going to leave the link to that website down in the description below, so you guys should check that out. And like always, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell so you do not miss a single video. And go ahead and comment down below any questions you might have and what are your thoughts on the Dolphins' playoff chances. So the first matchup that I want to get into is the Dolphins versus Saints Monday Night Football matchup, and obviously the Dolphins need to win this game to continue their playoff hunt. If the Dolphins lose this game, their playoff chances drop dramatically. Let's just say that they lose this game and they win their next two games against the Titans and the Patriots, they would still only have a 9% chance of making the playoffs. Whereas if the Dolphins win this game, their chances of making the playoffs improve to 14%, disregarding the other results of this weekend. And if the Dolphins win out, their playoff chances are around 80 to 82%. So this is a very, very big game for the Dolphins. I will say this though, that if the Dolphins were to drop any of their next three games, the most manageable loss would be against the Saints, just because the Saints are an NFC team and a lot of the playoff hunt tiebreakers are decided by conference record. The next matchup that I want to talk about today is the 49ers versus the Titans, and this video should be released by 5:30 or 6 on Thursday night, but I realize that some people might be watching this video on Friday or Saturday or even Sunday, so this result might have already happened. But if I am a Dolphins fan, and I am, but if I were you guys, I would most definitely root for the 49ers to win this game, just because you guys should want, and me included, I'm just going to refer to us as we should want the Colts to win the AFC South, just because the Dolphins currently have the head-to-head tiebreaker, or the Colts, have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Dolphins. The Colts won against the Dolphins in week 4, I believe, and assuming the Dolphins win out, that would mean that the Dolphins would have a win over the Titans. The Titans currently stand at 9-5. A loss to the 49ers would drop them to 9-6, and a loss to the Dolphins would drop them to 9-7. Thus, the Dolphins would mathematically be ahead of the Titans in the AFC playoff hunt. So 49ers versus Titans, I would root for the 49ers. This matchup does not require much of an explanation. The Packers are an NFC team, the Browns are an AFC team in the playoff hunt. The Dolphins actually currently have the tiebreaker over the Browns because the Dolphins have a conference record of 5-5 and Cleveland has a conference record of 4-6. A loss here for the Browns would put them at 7-8 on the season, which would in all likelihood take them out of the playoff hunt. So root for the Packers this weekend. Normally, I would say the obvious choice here between the Colts and the Cardinals would be to select the Cardinals. The Cardinals are an NFC team and the Colts are an AFC team in the midst of a playoff hunt. But because we want the Titans to free fall and because we want the Colts to win the AFC South, we are rooting for a Colts W here. I'm not sure what the likelihood of all this, because the Cardinals, I'm sure, are very mad from last weekend's very disappointing performance against the Detroit Lions, so they might come out very mad at home, and that does not bode well for the Indianapolis Colts. But the Colts are playing some very, very good football. They played very well last weekend against the Patriots, so it would not surprise me if the Colts upset the Cardinals, and that's absolutely what you should be rooting for this weekend. The next matchup that we'll talk about today is between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals, and we as Dolphins fans should absolutely be rooting for the Bengals this weekend. If the Ravens are handed their 7th loss, that would be huge, just because the Dolphins have the head-to-head tiebreaker over Baltimore, and the Bengals would pretty much lock up the AFC North, assuming that the Packers beat the Browns. The biggest non-Dolphins Saints matchup of week 15 is without a doubt between the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. This game will be played in Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, and if the Bills win, that would be absolutely huge for the Dolphins. A loss here by New England would send them away with their 6th loss, which would mean that Week 18 matchup between the Patriots and the Dolphins, assuming the Dolphins win out as well, would be for a wild card spot. That would just be a fantastic matchup between Mac Jones and Tua, vying for a playoff spot. I'm sure it would get flexed to primetime coverage. And yeah, guys, root for the Bills this weekend. I know it's weird to root for Buffalo, but guys, this is important. Please do. The Bills would probably go on and win the AFC East division, but the Dolphins really aren't vying for a division crown. They just want to sneak in that wild card slot. So like I said, Patriots loss would be huge for that. The next matchup is between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Houston Texans, and a Houston Texans win would be very big here. I doubt that it happens. The Chargers are a pretty decent team in the midst of a playoff hunt, and the Houston Texans are a very, very bad team who are most definitely not in the midst of a playoff hunt. They're starting Davis Mills this weekend, who at this point in his young NFL career is not very good. But if the Texans do upset the Chargers, that would be huge. That would tie the Chargers up with the Dolphins in overall record. They would both be 8-7, and in conference record, as they would both be 5-5. The next matchup that I want to talk about today is between the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think either team has that great of a chance to make the playoffs. For the Broncos, they do have a 7-7 record, but their conference record of 3-6 does not bode well for a lot of potential tiebreakers they could be in the AFC playoff hunt. And for the Las Vegas Raiders, they have not been playing good football as of late, and their end of schedule stretch is pretty tough. After the Broncos game, they go on to play the Colts in Indianapolis. So that is a very tough matchup. And in their final game of the regular season, they play the Chargers. So I don't think the Raiders will end up making the playoffs, but as a Dolphins fan, I'll be rooting for the Broncos this weekend. A Broncos win would put them at 8-7, but I'm sure the Dolphins would bode well in a potential tiebreaker with them, just because they would have the better conference record, and a loss here by the Raiders would put them at 7-8 and basically eliminate them from playoff contention. The last matchup that I want to talk about today is between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we as Dolphins fans should be rooting for the Chiefs, just because it would make it very, very hard for the Steelers to make the playoffs, just because a loss here would prevent them from reaching the coveted 10th win of the season, and that seems to be the magic number in the AFC playoff hunt. If you get 10 wins, you're basically in. So a loss here would prevent that from ever happening for the Steelers this season, and a loss here would be very huge for the Dolphins. Now, before I end this video, I just want to get into the path that is somewhat realistic that would lead the Dolphins at the end of this week to be in control of their own destiny in the AFC playoff hunt. That sounds really weird to say, just given how bad of a start the Dolphins had to their season. But if the Dolphins win on Monday night, if the Packers beat the Browns, if the Bengals beat the Ravens, if the Broncos beat the Raiders, if the Bills beat the Patriots, then the Dolphins would be in control of their own destiny. That is 6 matchups that would have to happen, or 5. So you can parlay that, you can do whatever you want with that. But if those results were to happen, then the Dolphins at the end of this week would be in control of their own destiny. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Comment down below if you have any other questions, and I will link the website that I pretty much tracked all of this on in the description down below, so you could play around with that if you want. But like always, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell so you do not miss a single video, and I will catch you later. Peace.